There are people who are destroying the credibility of Parliament, and they are collecting money in the name of Parliament. And some of the time, or most of the time, that money never gets to Parliament, it gets to a few people.
So listen to me. Let me say it. And then you'll have a chance to come and respond.
It must be that they want to salvage their political aspirations at the expense of the members. They must have realized that many members perhaps are unpopular, and so they want to throw them under the bus.
Let us call them out. Let us take the war to them.
President William Ruto is actually finally unveiling his 2027 game plan, and Kenyans need to be very careful. This time, they shouldn't be fooled again. Never to be fooled again. What we are witnessing currently, with the war against Parliament and the executive is not genuine at all. These issues of corruption and President Ruto now coming out so strongly to blame Parliament is actually carefully a choreographed script meant to manipulate public perception, silence critics, and buy back the public trust of the people. Because President Ruto has been the most unpopular person in Kenya currently.
Kenya iko na shortage ya watu wajinga. Kenya hii watu wote wanajua what is going on. So kama wanafikiri iko watu ya kudanganya Kenya hii, they don't know they are living in what kind of a country.
President William Ruto and Raila Odinga recently held a high-profile UDA and ODM meeting at Karen. And what came out of the meeting has actually shocked so many political class. Both leaders directly blamed Parliament, both the Senate and the National Assembly, for corruption and receiving bribes to pass bills and motion. Ruto even went as far as warning that those who were involved would actually get arrested. Yet, he conveniently stopped short of naming, or shaming the MPs. Let us just listen to what he had to say about, the corrupt MPs and how the MPs have been receiving bribes to pass bills in Parliament.
Do you, for example, know, that a few members of your committee collected 10 million shillings so that you could pass that law on anti-money laundering? Did you get the money? So, going forward, si tunataka tukubaliane, si we are one team. Yes, there are people who are destroying the credibility of Parliament. And they are collecting money in the name of Parliament. And some of the time, or most of the time, that money never gets. We are not going to shame them. We are going to arrest them. Yes. Do we agree? Do we agree? Yes. Whoever is giving and whoever is being given and whoever is doing whatever it is, we sort them out. Because the reality, friends, the reality is that there is a problem. And we all know here, tukitaka tu kusema ukweli, there is a problem. And unless we sort it out, we are going to destroy our nation. We are going to destroy this nation unless we sort it out. And we must be as candid to ourselves here as we are candid in implementing what is transformational for Kenya. We need a conversation. There are legitimate concerns on how resources are being spent at the counties. There is. We cannot also run away. There is legitimate concern. Let me ask, for example, the latest Sokohuru in the Senate. Because you have to accept, by virtue of the position I hold today, I am a consumer of raw intelligence. I know what's going on. Where does somebody find 150 million? Where? Eh? Is that his money? That is money that belongs to the county. Is that correct or not correct? Yes.
Well, you've heard it well from Ruto. And Raila also in the same meeting didn't hold back, and he actually added more fuel, and this actually touched so many MPs because he was directly telling them that CDF actually belongs to counties, or either that money should be channeled to the Ministry of Education, because the biggest role of members of parliament is to oversight the government and not to implement actually some of the activities that government does. And he insisted that funds like the NG-CDF shouldn't actually be handled by MPs, but instead taken to counties. And actually many MPs booed him at that moment, and they felt like this was enough trigger for them and they couldn't hold on.
So the work of parliament is representation, legislation, and oversight. Very clear, it's written there in the Constitution. Parliament is not supposed to be implementing. Parliament is supposed to be oversighting. It's not oversighting. And secondly, there is only two levels of devolution. There's, national and one level, county. Constituency is not an element of devolution. Devolution remains at the county. Down there at the constituency, the county government does implementation of the projects. I'm saying, correct. Down at the constituency, it's the county government. By the national government is supposed to do national projects, and we go down there. And there are functions which are clearly been assigned. Functions which have been clearly been assigned to the national government. I will tell you, your legislatures, and a very famous English politician said that I may not agree with what you have to say, but I shall defend unto death your right to say it. So listen to me. Let me say it. And then you'll have a chance to come and respond. So I'm telling you, I know that sometimes the truth is very bitter. I was there, and we discussed with the Karue when he was moving around to bring the CDF. The CDF was brought because of circumstances that were prevailing at that time. In those days, with a centralized system of government, there were very little resources which are going down to the counties. And that's the reason why the Harambee became the major ways of mobilizing resources.
Of course, members of parliament didn't take this lightly. In response, parliament erupted in anger because MPs now united, and some of them even threatened to halt the proceedings of parliament and not to proceed with any business of the day. Others even floated the idea of an impeachment motion against President Ruto, which we know is very unlikely.
We are now going to exercise our teeth. We are now going to bite. And Honorable Speaker, as I speak, there is a table censure motion. It is before you, Honorable Speaker. It's coming. We must now take our rightful position as a National Assembly.
If you're the president, you know those who are stealing. Why don't you arrest them? Why do you come to tell us? What do I have to do with it? You are the president. You are saying you want to fight corruption. And you know those who are stealing. What are you waiting for? Is it our business?
If that act was procured through bribery, then that act should be repealed and brought back to this house so that we can act on it again without the bribery.
Who gave the alleged inducement? Number three, what was the purpose of the inducement?
How many pipes are leaking government revenue to private pockets? Do your work as members of parliament. Let us call them out. Let us take the war to them.
If it is corruption everywhere, and it must be fought in that manner. But if you want to make it sectional, Mr. Speaker, then you lose the war on corruption.
Article 125 gives us the power to compel the appearance of any person before this committee. Any person, including the president, who is making allegations of unethical conduct on the part of parliament. For the president to come and explain who are those people who are demanding bribes? Who are those people who are given bribes? Because you cannot try parliament in a kangaroo court.
I am upset because of this wholesale condemnation of parliament. Because a person like me, Honorable Speaker, you are well aware that it's just the other day that I joined the jailer committee. And I am now branded as perhaps one of the people who have already received the money. And Honorable Speaker, it is very wrong for anyone to do this kind of condemnation on members of parliament.
I have received some letters about members that I would have presented to the agencies on different things. Sometimes I call you, I talk to you, and you correct your ways. Let's also uphold our integrity. I have given you an opportunity this afternoon. Waswahili wanasema muue mkala, lakini haki yake mpe.
Here's the truth, Kenyans. Let's forget about the MPs even for a while. What looks like an open fight between the executive and parliament might actually be a well-rehearsed drama. This is a stage-managed war. This is a game plan, and especially for President Ruto and Raila Odinga. Why? Because Ruto knows he is actually losing public trust. And actually, I loved this MP because he was able to note something about, Ruto's now critique to parliament.
But I believe it is for a few reasons. One, it must be that they are coming for CDF and for RMLF. It is for that reason. Two, it must be that they want to salvage their political aspirations at the expense of the members. They must have realized that many members perhaps are unpopular, and so they want to throw them under the bus. And it is unacceptable, having benefited from the support of the members, that now they want to sacrifice the members.
Well, currently, we don't know who is the master in this game. But one thing is for sure. Ruto is finding a better way to rebrand himself, and he's doing this very tactically. He's coming out to position himself as the man who is leading a fearless fight against graft. And now he's not relenting, even if it means sacrificing his own members of parliament. By blaming parliament, Ruto is creating a narrative that he's not the problem. Of course, it is the greedy MPs. It is the greedy MPs that are trying to block my progress. I am fighting for you, the people. And Kenyans might bite that, because we know what happened in 2022, the narrative between the hustlers and the dynasties, and this won him. But now Ruto is trying to find out how he can fix himself for the interest of the people. But many Kenyans might actually buy this narrative, because we know Kenyans are always gullible. And that is why we Kenyans are telling Kenyans to be very careful, because this is just another plan.
For me, I heard the president say yesterday that there is a lot of bribery allegations happening in parliament, and I was surprised that he's talking about it 1 year after they've been able to use the same corridors, activities to impeach even Rigathi Gachagua. How was Rigathi Gachagua impeached? Haven't you heard from many members what was happening, what was traded between members of parliament and the executive? You want to tell me that you've never heard that during impeachment here, Rigathi Gachagua, there were some MPs who actually confessed that they were enticed with money so that they can sign the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua? You want to tell me this is the first time that you have heard this? Many members of parliament, many senators have even been on radio, on TV, saying they were lured into money so that they can sign. So, President Ruto coming on TV in front of governors to say that parliament is corrupt I think this guy has just realized that he has lost it. So he's trying to redeem his image by now throwing all the mess he has done in the last 2.5 years to Parliament. In fact, soon and very soon, you will hear him say, hata hizo finance bill, si mimi nilipitisha, ni wajumbe walipitisha. He's trying to cleanse himself, to redeem his image as he prepares for 2027. Lakini tunamwambia bila kumficha. Watufukuze wakatae kutufukuza. Sisi tumeamua, kama wamama wa Kenya tumeamua. Na ile tumeamua tutamuonyesha 2027 kwa ballot.
But this man, Raila, cannot be ignored in this game plan. His involvement in this script cannot be ignored totally. We know Raila very well. And now that he has decided that he's going to support Ruto ever since he joined the broad-based government, we can see him now echoing Ruto's message, and he's driving, the legitimacy of President Ruto, saying that his anti-corruption crusade is what he has been preaching, and this is what is called for now at the moment. So together, they're trying to paint themselves as reformers. But we all know there is no genuine reform from these two guys. This is just another political theater. This is why Kenyans need to be very careful in terms now as 2027 approaches. We know how politicians are. The game plans are just beginning, and they're going to be plenty of them before next year. But let me play you this Ruto's video.
Kenya iko na shortage ya watu wajinga. Kenya hii watu wote wanajua what is going on. So kama wanafikiri iko watu ya kudanganya Kenya hii, they don't know they are living in what kind of a country.
Yes, Ruto, there are no shortage of fools in Kenya, and you won't fool us anymore. And this is why Kenyans need to be very careful, especially now that these claim plans are coming out. We should not be deceived. Ruto and his government have never been genuine about fighting corruption, and we know that very well. From the start, Kenya Kwanza has been a government of deals. We have seen so many scandals, to questionable tenders, to the billions lost in state projects, or even some of the projects that we've seen hyped with the Talanta Stadium, and many that you can name. Adani, I was actually even forgetting that. The road has only deepened under his watch. And many have actually said that he's the master. So he should start by questioning himself. And his sudden anti-corruption crusade is not just about integrity, because how can he question himself? This is all about 2027. And just as we've said, it is about creating the illusion that Ruto is different. And now that Kenyans are people who forget easily, they can be able to, buy in that, Ruto has been working and is doing differently. And now we can support him and give him his second term. He wants the conversation to change from 1 term to 2 term. He's trying his best, and he's doing this in a very bold way, that he's ready to clean the house. Really? Will he be able to clean the house? Let's wait and see. As we wind up, I would like to put this question forward to Kenyans. If Ruto is truly serious about fighting corruption, why doesn't he start with the names we already know? Why doesn't he want to expose them or name the big fish? Why is he hiding behind vague threats and empty rhetoric? If he's genuine, why doesn't he take action instead of forming, different committees that end up, having the same strategies that we've had, policies that don't actually actualize to reforms? This is not a reform. This is not change. This is actually Ruto's plan to 2027. A political trick to win your trust and secure your vote. Well, will you be able to buy into this? Let me remind you.
Kenya iko na shortage ya watu wajinga. Kenya hii watu wote wanajua what is going on. So kama wanafikiri iko watu ya kudanganya Kenya hii, they don't know they are living in what kind of a country.
You've heard it from Ruto himself that Kenya has no shortage of fools. So, please, don't be fooled, because this is just another game plan for Ruto and Raila as they prepare for 2027. Anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. If you found this video impactful, I want you to take 3 seconds of this video before I wind up to just hit on that subscribe button, and also hit on that notification bar so that anytime I do a video, you're able to be notified. Until next time, we Kenyans say goodbye.